What up, friends? We're talking about emergency equipment today. I see a lot of posts on some of the pages that I follow about people asking about equipment, and so I thought I would go through the basics of what I have. And here's the critical thing that I like to think of. You don't hope an emergency won't happen. You plan for an emergency to happen, right? For instance, a couple of years ago, probably 5 years ago, some friends of my wife, they were out off Hatteras. They were fishing about 30 miles out. The boat started taking on water, and they had a series of minutes to try and figure out what to do. The boat rolled. They had to exit the boat. Luckily, they had an ELT. They had wetsuits, and they all survived. So you have to be prepared for an emergency. I fish anywhere from 25 to 50 miles out every single time I go offshore fishing. And when I go, I need to be prepared. And I try and make sure I have everything I need to be prepared. So here's a quick video. Let me just state, I am not a survivalist. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in everything. I am not giving you advice. I'm not trying to give you advice. I'm simply just trying to show you what I have on my boat and how I do things like a safety brief and some of those items. So hope you enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the swell time. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. I don't know about the lighting, but the sun's bearing down on me. So listen, swell time's a 25-foot Key West pair of 150s, 2016. Love the boat. It's unsinkable, so was the Titanic, but it's unsinkable. It also has positive flotation, which was a big seller. The keel is empty, is void of any material in this boat, so that if it were ever to be swamped, they expect the keel to fill with water, and that would keep the boat straight up and down, and it wouldn't swamp. Normally, if it has a lot of foam in the bottom, a lot of times that's what causes your boat to flip. Anyways, let's talk about emergency equipment. So I've often been accused of carrying too much, but I've been seeing on all these posts everywhere. I see posts, guys, what emergency equipment do you keep? What emergency equipment? So I thought, well, you know what? I had to pull a battery this morning, so I thought I'll just go over it all. So so right now I'll start with what's in the console, and then I still have we'll give one quick peek in the console. But I drug these bags out. First and foremost, this is my ditch bag. It floats. It has a handle. It's made by ACR, who also makes my EPIRB. And in here I keep the basics. I keep my flares. I keep an emergency kit or a first aid kit. I keep a roll of Gorilla Tape, which is a necessity on any boat. Duct tape, probably the most critical component in anybody's list. What can you do with duct tape? Well, you put it over a mole and let it sit there long enough. They say it'll make your mole go away. What could be better than that, right? No, but when I think about duct tape, I think about, imagine this. I have hydraulic steering in my boat. What if the hydraulic steering goes out and I'm finding it hard to steer? Well, I'll take my gaff, wrap it around one of my engines with some of that duct tape, and I'll steer it home as a tiller, right? Duct tape can be the most useful tool for anything, and you gotta have duct tape on your boat, and buy good duct tape. Don't buy Dollar General duct tape. Get you some Gorilla Tape from Lowe's or wherever you get it. That stuff is amazing. All right, back to the video. I keep a spare Blue Seas battery switch in here because I've had 2 of them go bad. I keep my VHF handheld in here. I have a head flashlight in here. I have a mask for in case I have to give first aid to somebody to put over my mouth. And I have a tourniquet. But the most important thing in here is in the side, and that's my EPIRB. This is an ACR ELT. It's registered with OSHA. I would recommend if you have one, you register with OSHA. It asks you a lot of details about your boat and everything, and when it goes off, they'll know who it is. So what I tell people in my safety brief, and I do give a safety brief, this is a very important point. I give a safety brief anytime somebody comes on the boat that hasn't been on several times. And you know what? I'll just go over the safety brief when we get there. This is my secondary bag. This is what I call, we got to elevate the situation bag, and I tell everybody it's the red bag of courage. So in the side over here, first and foremost, I keep trauma packs. These are quick clotting material. You put it on a big wound, and it basically causes a clotting action and hopefully keeps it from bleeding. Inside I have another trauma pack. I have a spare PFD. I have another first aid kit, because there is a first aid kit in this bag as well. I have emergency fishing kit. I have Cologne light sticks. I have an emergency battery. I have leftover flares that expired at some point with a gun. I have blankets that are supposed to help you should you get cold. More flares. So that's in that pocket. Close that later. MREs. Buy yourself some MREs and keep in there. You can, it'll give you food for a couple days. I think I have 6 of them in here, along with Cologne light sticks, some parachute cord, an emergency fishing kit, and again light sticks. That's what I keep in this bag. So really, if someone were to get beyond this first aid kit, it's when we come into this bag. If we ditched, we'd take both bags with us. So I also have 2 of these Plano containers. One of them, this is a complete tool set from Harbor Freight. Their $30 tool set that has all metric and US and screwdrivers and everything else in it. I have another first aid kit in here and some toilet paper. In the second orange bin, this is where I keep the specialized stuff. Tape measures, silicone sealant, fuses, small wrenches, anything electronic, electrical connections, black tape. In the bottom is my prop wrench right here, along with more masking, with more tape and tie wraps. And there's a hammer and a 1/2-inch extension down there as well. So that covers pretty much most of that stuff. All right, let's take a look in the console. Still in my console, I have in that bin right there is spare props. When I took the 3 blades off the boat and put 4 blades on it, I kept the 3 blades. They're in there. I keep these in here in case it gets really bad and rainy, which sometimes it does. These smocks, I have 3 of them in here. Back here behind, I have a Harbor Freight set of jumper cables. They come in that package. And here's a critical thing which I think everybody should have. I bought a small rule bilge pump. I put some wires and clips on it. Some wires and clips that are probably needing to be replaced here pretty soon. This is what 6 years of salt water does. But I keep this bilge pump on the boat, and I have had to use it. Fortunately, it wasn't on my boat, but about 2 years ago, someone pulled up to the ramp, and their boat was sinking. And I threw it to them, and it kept them from having that issue. All right, let's go over my safety brief. All right, should we have an emergency, here are the steps that we need to do. First and foremost, this is my standard Horizon Explorer radio. And if you lift this switch right here, it automatically sends out our GPS position through the GPS radio. The second thing that you would do is I show everybody where the life preservers are. My life preservers are above my head. There's 4 crash proof, 100-mile-an-hour crash proof, US Coast Guard approved life preservers in there, and they have strobes in the pockets as well as mirrors. And I'll probably put whistles in there when I replace the strobes this year. And then I walk them through everything that we already went through. Take the yellow bag, take the red bag, and if we have to ditch. But I don't think we'll have to ditch. So first and foremost, the radio, hit the emergency button on the radio, grab the I grab the EPIRB out of here and I show them how to operate it. I actually go through the demonstration. I won't go through it now, but it basically says, under the antenna, hold it to the sky, keep a shot, keep it an unobstructed antenna shot to the sky, and push the big red button. Okay, so those are the two foremost for your emergency brief, and I'm sure your insurance company would really appreciate you giving an insurance brief. I get on some charter boats sometimes and they never say a word, and it concerns me a bit. I know the fire extinguishers are fire extinguishers. Great point. I have 2 fire extinguishers on my boat, mounted right there, as you can see. A lot of people only have 1. I have 2, just in case. Anyways, back to charter boats. I've been on them, and I know they're under the seats in the lounge or the cabin or the rest area on the boats, but they don't ever talk about it. One time I got on one and the guy said, if you need a life preserver, I'll tell you where it is. And not a very good way to do it. You should always give an insurance, give a brief when people get on your boat and they're new. I do it even if we're going clamming, just in case. And I'm sure your insurance company, should you ever have an accident, would be glad that you did such a thing. Look, I feel like I dodgeballed on the safety brief. So and I didn't include a couple of things. One is I always do a radio check before I leave the dock when I'm right after my safety brief. And the other is I always tell them, should I fall over and die of a heart attack or something out there, or becoming incapacitated, you steer this course home, which for me it's somewhere between 300 and 330. And I make sure they know that, and I show them that on the compass. But a safety brief is very critical. I start with my radio and punching the emergency button on the radio, pulling the ELT. I also show them where the first aid kits are. I don't think I covered that in the bags, or I tell them there's first aid kits in both those bags. So those are a few things I thought I forgot that I wanted to mention. If I'm fishing in the winter, I bring these. And here are 2 extra large wetsuits. They were reasonably cheap on the internet. I bought them. Could save your life. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the little quick video on emergency stuff. It's my ideas, my values, what I like to keep on my boat. I hope you like and subscribe this video. Please subscribe. Please like. It means a lot to me, and that's kind of why I do it. So yeah, until next time, probably next week, I'm looking at doing some fishing Tuesday. The weather's looking good. Maybe I can get another video out within a week. But until then, y'all take care.